I'm Dr. Augustin with Bayside Chiropractic and Rehab. And today for our information video, we're going to have some fun and we're going to talk about the history of chiropractic. But to do this, we're going to bring in the history of 3 healthcare professions because it'll help you understand, in the early 19th century what was going on. So we're going to start with the first chiropractic adjustment. It's kind of a fun story. A Canadian-born man named Daniel David Palmer moved to Iowa. When he was in Iowa, he went through a bunch of jobs and he became a magnetic healer, which at the time was in the mid-18 to late 1800s was, you had all these different healing professions. Well, one day he sees the janitor in his office, in his office complex, and he's cleaning, and the janitor can't hear. He's got really bad hearing. One ear is totally deaf. So what happens is he notices this big lump on his spine, and he goes, well, how long have you had the lump? Remember, he can still hear a little bit, but one ear is completely deaf. And he's been getting these hearing treatments, which I don't know exactly what they were, but they weren't working. So D.D. Palmer is what he's referred to, the father of chiropractic, looks at his back and he goes, well, let me try something. So he has this heavy book in his hand and he kind of slaps him on the back. He knows a little bit about anatomy and stuff like that. And they're laughing and stuff. And 2 days later, a couple days later, the janitor, which name is Harvey Lillard, comes back and he says, holy cow, I got some hearing back. So he proceeds to bring him into his office and he does another adjustment, what we call now adjustment or manipulation. And as the story goes, the janitor's hearing comes back, and now there's affidavits because, it's gone through a lot of court cases, chiropractic, osteopath, medical association, they've all been through court. So there's actually affidavits signed by Harvey Lillard that prove, well, at least that says this is what happened. So that's the start. So 2 years later, the first chiropractic college opens, and it's called Palmer School of Chiropractic. Still in Davenport, Iowa, it's still there. That's the original school. So now we get into what we believe as chiropractors, at the same time osteopaths, which osteopaths are now DOs, which are, there's about 31 doctor of osteopath schools, but they're basically the same as MDs. They're actually licensed by MDs, but they were separate back then. They were early. So in 1895, 1897, chiropractic starts. In 1892, Andrew Still started osteopath. Here's the difference between the two. Very little. They both thought that the body was a very mechanical machine, and that if we could fix the mechanics, then the body would correct itself. Osteopaths thought manipulating the spine would help with blood flow, creating healing. Chiropractors thought manipulating the spine would help with flow of nervous impulses, and that would help with healing. So you had 2 paradigms. One said, all right, we'll correct and the body will heal itself, osteopaths and chiropractors. And then we had the medical association, and you got to remember it's the turn of the century. So the medical association didn't start till 1850. And if we thought they were they were bloodletting, giving mercury, actually it gave everybody mercury poisoning, was a big deal on that. And they created the American Medical Association in 1850. So it's only been 40 years before that. And they created it because there were so many medical schools or physician schools or whatever they were called that there was too much competition. And initially it was created for the good old boys. So to control the competition. So when they created the AMA, it shut down and put standards on things. It shut down basically all these schools. So now you had this group competing with osteopaths, competing with chiropractors in about 1895. Now, well, we have to understand the first problems that chiropractic had getting started is that the osteopaths went straight for state licensure. So when they got their licensure, osteopaths said that they were practicing osteopathic medicine without a license. So all these court cases, actually some people went to jail. D.D. Palmer went to jail for like 6 months, and then they distinguished it by saying we have a different paradigm. Now I'm going to stop here because in our next episode we're going to talk about how we go from these three competing things to about 115 to 20 years later, we're starting to work together. Actually, we're really starting to work together well, but we'll show you what happened and how Big Pharma plays a role in that. And that's really interesting because it's not what anybody's going to think. So you need to stay tuned for this because you're going to learn a lot about Big Pharma. So if you have any questions or you want to find a natural way of healing, help with your pain, we do sports rehab, all kinds of stuff at the office. Give me a call. My number is 251-990-8388. It's Bayside Chiropractic and Rehab. And I'd be more than happy to talk to you or see you. Thank you.